Sando, is there a chance that Ben Rutten, obviously, if you're going to push for the finals every game is the world, is there a chance he may not play again for Adelaide?
No, he'll certainly play for us again this year. Cole Hartigan's out for the remainder of the season, obviously, and so it's a bit of a dogfight, I guess. Talia, Luke Thompson, Rutten are probably three guys fighting for two spots. So yeah, Truck's still right in the frame for us. I've been happy with Luke Thompson's season, and he's been in and out of the side a little bit over the last couple of seasons, but yeah, Truck's just got to be ready. When we call his name again, he's got to come in and certainly play his role, but we'll see him again this year.
So how can you be so sure if the other guys are going so well and so much at stake?
Oh, there's still plenty of footy left. You know, there's 5 games in the home and away season still to play. There's going to be plenty of twists and turns, I'm sure. So, as with every player in our squad, they've just got to be ready. Whether that's you know, Lyons, Lynch, Matt Crouch, Rutten, Sam Shaw, Kerridge comes back in a week. You know, Charlie Cameron. There's some guys there who just who have to be ready, and when we call their name, they have to be ready to play.
Hartigan's out for the rest of the year. How serious was that injury?
Hartigan, yeah, it's a bit of a shame for him because it's just one of those football incidents, and he's got further assessment. I'll probably call that a bit early, but he's got another assessment with the surgeon next week. At the moment, he's just resting at home, but I'll probably let the cat out of the bag there, have I? I'm not sure, but it's unlikely that we'll see him again this season. He's got to see the surgeon again next week, and we'll just see where he's at. But unfortunately, one of those football injuries where wrong place at the wrong time.
And so is that, with the surgeon, is that just to sort of stem the internal bleeding?
Yeah, it's just an issue with internal bleeding where we'll see how that's progressing, if it's healing. I don't think he won't require surgery, but it's more so what the next step is from here. So, yeah, unfortunate contact injury last week. He spent this week at home. Once again, I've probably let the cat out the bag when I probably should have read all the media releases, but yeah, he'll just be continually assessed, but it looks like he'll be unlikely that he'll play again this season.
So there's no issue with kidneys or...
No.
Just on injury though, Daniel Talia, he just looked a bit proppy, did a lot of running by himself.
Yeah, that's normally what Tales does. Yeah, I mean he, as with most of our players, he hasn't missed a beat for most of the season. He does his own thing the day before the game. He likes to get a bit of sharp change of direction and high speed running intensity work in. He's fine. He'll be good to go tomorrow without any issues.
What's your take on free agency? Everyone's sort of chiming in during the week, and you're a big American sports.
Yeah.
And how would you like it to play out in the AFL?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask because it has helped our footy club with the draft sanctions that we received with the Tippett incident. Free agency was beneficial for us, so we could bring in, you know, Eddie Betts. I think though it probably does help the player. Obviously, from a club point of view, I think most clubs would sort of be against free agency in the long run. It can sort of promote destination clubs, and not many free agents leave to go to a club down the bottom of the ladder. So it effectively can make strong sides stronger. But as I said, from our point of view, it's been really beneficial.
So do you prefer it to disappear completely?
I sort of want to see how it plays out a little bit. I think it's too early to call at the moment. I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of player movement like you do see in America, where there's free agents moving left, right and centre, or whether it's just going to be, from the AFL's point of view, 2 or 3 a season, which seems pretty manageable. You know, we've been pretty good with David McKay re-signing, and you know, we've got some bigger names in the next couple of seasons, which we'll have to obviously try and hold on to. But at the moment, it's been beneficial for us.
Do you think clubs need to have a bit more power in the sense that if they sign, you should be able to trade them without them stopping? Because it seems like it's way too much of the players.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. We can, as a club, we can agree between clubs that we'll do this deal, but the player can always veto a trade. So in America, that they can't do that. It's if 2 clubs come to a decision to trade players or draft picks, the player gets sent to another club. At the moment, the player in the AFL still has the right to veto any trade. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It does frustrate the clubs, I know, at times, but ultimately the player is the one that benefits from that.
And how much room, back to the team and tomorrow, how much room for improvement
Yeah.
you're operating at?
We just have to keep looking for consistency from our group. I think we've played since round, or even in those first 3 games that we lost, in all of those games we were right in it in the last quarter. Round 1 against Geelong, we hit the front in the last quarter. The showdown in round 2, we hit the front late in the 3rd quarter. And even Sydney, you know, we're only a couple of points down at 3/4 time. So almost every game we've played, we've been right in it. We just have to be more consistent for 4 quarters, and particularly at this time of the year, you certainly can't flirt with your form. You have to be at your best no matter who you're playing. And I said it before, we've seen a lot of games in the last few rounds where you've just seen some really shock results. You have to be at your best every single match, and our objective is to beat our next opponent. This week that's West Coast. That's as far as we're looking forward at the moment.
Is there a danger of the players locking up now? That could they think that the spot in the 8 is theirs to lose, and maybe, not, don't want to use the word choke, it hasn't happened, but the tendency just to be a little bit cautious?
There's always that risk, but we certainly won't be talking about that internally. We have to keep our attitude, and our process has to be 100% every week. I don't want to fill players' minds with negativity, and what if you make a mistake here? It's more about, here's an opportunity this week against West Coast to test our attitude and ensure that our systems and our processes are at their best, and that's the objective this week.
So your message has been to be really aggressive and take on?
Yeah, it's the same every week, yeah. I think, as Tommy mentioned before, we seem to be playing our best footy, but for longer. Even last week, 20 or 30 points up against Collingwood, they come back and hit the front in the 4th quarter. We shouldn't let that happen. We can't allow those 20, 30 minutes of blocks of games where we play poorly. We have to be at our best for 4 quarters, and that's what the top 4 sides do, and that's what we're aiming to achieve.